launch. This is the Spirit Guide Daily for February 2023. Welcome back. It's struggling a little bit to launch, so I'm not sure if we're live yet. Babble, babble. Keep going, dude. You can do it. There we go. And the first thing that I have to do is shut me up, and there we have. Okay, there is a higher resolution thumbnail that you can access by looking at the announcement for the stream. These are the 4 piles. This is pick a card for February 2023. Remember, timestamps will be edited in after the broadcast. I'm doing this a little bit early today because I have some other commitments. Take your time, pick a pile, see which one really calls out to you. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. You're going to see my hand come into the view here. Take it away, pile number 1. Here we go. I'm going to remember my tabletops today, guys. It's going to be like a miracle. I hope everybody had a good January. I certainly had a very productive one. I did a lot of podcasts. I started out with my friend Devin, and then my friend Jacob also came in and acted as a co-host on that. And we've been having a good time with it. And I do have other guests. My podcast is called Logical Magic, Examining Esoterica. It is up on all of the major services. And for all the people who've been asking me about when I would start teaching magic, most of what I will be teaching is contained in the podcast. I did put up one Celestial and Angelic Magic Cliff Notes version episode if you're interested in what that is and how it differs from Enochian magic, because they are based in the same principles. All right, let's get our camera adjusted as well so that you can see the reading as well as hear it. There we go. I hope everyone's doing well. Hey guys, early indicators are we have a slightly contentious energy around the next few days or so. I'm waiting to see when the stream actually catches up with me, and you can likely see me right now. There we go. Too high, too low. How are we? It's ever so slightly crooked, guys, but we're going to go for it so that I don't spend all of our time messing with the camera. Hello, welcome back. I hope you had a beautiful, beautiful month. Listen, greater world tension's a little bit high. Anybody who's been watching me for a little bit knows my divine message deck, Spooky and then Spooky Junior. I don't often use them in these monthly readings any longer, and I've only ever done one pick a card with it because it is a direct connection to a divine conduicy. Both of them were basically having a little bit of a fit this morning over some things that are in our news cycle right now, particularly for people in the United States. Please stay as safe as you can. There is a contentious energy around the next little bit. And by the next little bit, we will see how it shakes out. Unfortunately, cards have difficulty conveying magnitude sometimes, but I am getting warnings on some things. If you're in the United States and follow news cycles at all, you likely know that there's a little bit of worry around a news item out of Memphis, Tennessee, involving police brutality that is beyond the telling of it. And they're very worried about conflict. I have picked up some conflict in the cards. I don't know how bad it will be. And everybody just please stay safe. All right. Let's get going with pile number 1. We're going to have the Tarot of the Night bringing us a predictive spread. And we're going to start with your oracle cards. And I scaled back a little bit on oracle cards so that we're not here for 4 hours. The first one is surrender. Surrender yourself to the flow of life and see how you can influence your future. Keep moving forward and your life's purpose will manifest. One of the hardest things about this entire life's purpose journey and a spiritual journey, trying to be integrated with your highest self, is that we want things from a place of emotional need and desire sometimes. And sometimes they're not in our actual path or our actual plan. And we can prolong our journey and slow our progress when we continue to insist that I must have these things that I say are for me. And if you're not bringing them to me, then clearly you're not doing it quickly enough versus it's not for me. And the easiest way to get free of that particular sort of blockage is to accept that I don't need to chase anything. I don't need to push towards anything. I need to follow my guidance and make efforts in the areas that I'm being guided in order to manifest the things that do have to do with my purposeful journey. And if you're in my collective, you're on a purposeful journey. You're here to learn new things, and you're here to try and be the best version of yourself that you can be to yourself and to others. And if that does not describe your personal, because everybody basically gets a different major in this lifetime, if that does not like describe who you are as a person, then you're not in my collective. And that's not a judgment. It's like, I don't have your messages. And so you might need to find somebody else. But if it does, that means that I likely have your messages for you. And then I have guardianship, the wolf and the rose hip. We have surrender and guardianship, which is a call to remember that you're protected. One of the things that I always have to make people understand is when they hear, you're so protected, you're so protective, they're always, and I feel it too sometimes, asking, I don't feel all that protected. A lot of bad things happen to me. Don't mistake protected for being sheltered. Don't mistake protected for being coddled. Protected means that you will have a path forward if you reach towards it, that your answers are trying to come to you to lead you out of any forms of darkness or difficulty, and that your life and like what you need to sustain that life are made available to you. And that's what protected means. It doesn't actually mean kept in, like you're not wrapped in bubble wrap. And that is not to say that your struggles or anything is brought to you to challenge you, to test you, just saying that to try and have some faith in things do work out. I do have a place to sleep. I do have enough to eat, that kind of thing. That's what protected means. And the rest of it is a little bit up to us, but we are actually, when we invoke guardianship, we are more protected. So surrender and invoke protection and guardianship from the powers that you work with. And I work with the archangels, Raphael, Michael, Uriel, and Gabriel. And that is part of, in the celestial and angelic magic, basically brief cliff notes that I put up. I explain what that is. All right, here we go. Let's get going. Oh, healing chaos. This is this deck's version of the tower. We have a little bit of that kind of energy. Remember, the universe gives us many opportunities to change, both on a micro level, which is a personal level, and a macro level, which is on a greater like societal or world level. And when we won't change and we won't change and we won't change and we resist it, the pressure increases around that when the change must be accomplished. And so that's what the tower is. When we have basically caused the momentum and the pressure and the power behind something to build, because something must happen in order to continue to sustain life. That's what healing chaos is. If there's a little bit of chaos, remember, sometimes things get worse before they get better. I don't have a reason to believe that it will get markedly worse, but that healing chaos with surrender and guardianship, no matter what's going on in the outside world, call in your protection, know that you are protected. And again, please don't mistake it for being, again, treated as fragile. They simply will make sure that you have body and soul together and can keep going afterwards. I have bird flying. News is on the way. All right, I'm taking the angel answer early on this. I'm not doing the cookie card and the angel answer today. Like I said, I scaled back a tiny little bit on our oracle cards. I will take this at the end after all, because that's what I just got told to do. We will take that at the end. The premise behind this is if there is an area of your life that I do not address in this reading and you still have some questions on it, this will help give you guidance there. We have the Don Juan in the archetype card. It did come out in reverse. This is the only type of oracle card that I do read in reverse, because it has a shadow attribute that is opposite of the light attribute. It is using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. And remember, that is not just a trickster energy. It means that, as a for instance, if you want somebody in a set of circumstances that means that their life has to be cracked apart for them to come towards you, that is a private agenda. Your assumption that you are the best person for them is something that you need to get with your guides with to understand whether or not that's really in your path. And we cannot force anybody to be by our side. By the same token, it's totally normal to want who we want when we want them. It's just if something has gotten in your path, question why that is. It's usually about doing your own work. It has nothing to do with that person will never be by your side, but rather that you have more work to do and to kind of do your own work to accomplish what you want to bring to you. That's the easiest, the shortest way to put that. I have mending, which is a healing energy. Healing chaos, mending, news is on the way, and then surrender. With business venture from the magical messages from fairies. They're not fairies, they're spirits of air. trust and follow through on a new business idea or career opportunity. For those of you looking to make a change, the cards are kind of, yes, be on that side. But again, the only thing that's kind of holding me back here is be a little bit cognizant of the motives of anybody who comes towards you in romance. And then in your own romantic entanglements, be a little bit cognizant of making sure that you have, you're working in service of your highest good. And then I have playing it safe. And that did come out in reverse again, not the type of oracle card that I read in reverse. As I said at the very top of this, this is a good weekend to be sticking close to home. Sometimes we all have battles that we need to engage in, and it's not quite as literal as that. It is better to stay safe and to be able to make headway in changes that are for the better. Meaning that there is, sometimes we kind of like want to engage in something because we think it proves something. And it can, and it does. But the greater work is in the aftermath after the chaos, and just commit to being the best person that you can be, working to make everything as good as you can for the greatest number of people. And that's usually one of the best energies for living in a purposeful energy. And like I said, if you're in my collective, you're interested in being in a purposeful energy. Let's get going for February 2023 with the Tarot of the Night. Here we go, 1 and 2 and 3. Interesting energy pile number 1. Remember, this is going to be the earth energy. That's not the same thing as saying this is for earth signs. Every month we have we're led chiefly by a different element. Most of the people who are attracted to me as a reader, and I mean drawn to me to get my services or to hear these readings, actually have a form of conduicy or an ability to channel, and they are led by the elements, meaning you have a ruling element. In this month, if you're drawn to pile number 1, and it should, kind of switch around a little bit, then earthly security and earthly matters is what this particular pile is covering. Here we go, 1 and 2 and 3. And sometimes it's appropriate to go back and watch a different pile that has to do with a different element. Okay, we have the 9 of Pentacles in the upright, which is a card of individual power, of privilege, of standing in your own power. Sometimes it's a card of being single and needing to feel that energy before it is appropriate to join your power with somebody else. And why is it so important? Because we all have our own individual and unique path. And to be able to live in a purposeful journey, you have to be on that road so that you don't get diverted trying to follow your ego's desires over your life's purpose plan. Sometimes they diverge. Let's get going here. 1 and 2 and 3. That's a really good card for money. That is a really good card for a feeling of power. I love that it's in the upright. That's coming out with the 10 of Swords in the upright. It's a spiritual awakening card. It can be a backstabbing energy. I rarely see it that way. It has to be in reverse for me to start seeing it as betrayal. But it can be about spiritual awakening. Something ends so that something else can begin. And remember, endings can be the tiniest little bit messy, particularly with that healing chaos card that you have, and the news is on the way energy. I have the 10 of Pentacles in the upright as the foundational card. I tell you, honestly, I have been getting this card again recently for specific individuals around an energy that has to do with lockdown, because it's a security card. It's being in a secure and safe place. So potentially that, like I said, probably a good weekend to kind of stay home, but it's also a good card of monetary gain, of contracts, of the investments paying off. It's everything about security. Sometimes it's about life partners as well. That is coming out with the 3 of Wands in reverse. That is having many options open and keeping your options open as well, not fully. Wait until you calm down to commit to a course of action is one of the meanings for that card. The Wheel of Fortune in the upright. So we have lots of pentacle energies here in our Earth group already. The Wheel of Fortune in the upright is a karmic card. Hi, guys. And it is about usually a turn of good fortune. But remember, when the wheel turns, something falls off so that something else can come on. It can be a release to receive energy. Let's see what else it comes out with. It's coming out with the Fool in reverse. Fool in reverse can be a call to watch your step. It is to look to your past to find the lessons that you have already learned so you can inform your actions going forward so as to get the best outcomes. It can also be a, hey, don't take any wooden nickels type of energy where you do question, and you did have questioning the motives of somebody over here already. You question the motives of those who are coming towards you. That is one of the ways that we maintain boundaries. And it is not about living in a distrustful energy. It is quite simply saying that we do not owe, it is not an act of faith to give everyone we meet instant trust. In fact, trust at a certain level can be extended to all, but trust at a deeper level is earned through time and circumstance. That's coming out with the Two of Swords in reverse, which is clarity and open psychic eye. What do I got on that? Okay. I really feel like you're going to feel very, very guided indeed. Like your personal empowerment is really online. And that was the early draw told me as well. Intuition for those who are doing the work in order to have good alignment. Remember, aligning your personal energies, whether through chakra balancing or through grounding, or different practices have different techniques around it. You will always get better information when you have a foot in each land, meaning you're very grounded in the 3D, but you're reaching up for the answers beyond. And the reason it's so important to be grounded is that there are many options. Like when we see the tarot, it is one potential future. And there are many potential futures based on our choices. We have more power in our lives than we have a tendency to believe that we do. Our choices determine where we will branch off, where the path leads. When you're not particularly grounded, you see all options. And unfortunately, when that happens, we have a tendency to focus on what we want versus what is. And it's called the longing of the querent. And it can cause us to get false reads in tarot readings as well. That is coming out with the Ten of Wands in the upright, which is an overburdened situation. It's also a heavy burden. Sometimes it's a stressful card. That's our external situation. So those are the forces around you. I have that with the Six of Swords in reverse. That is one of the cards for a literal death. I do not have it around an individual. It can be about delays. It can be about returns. Let's see what it's about here. Comes out with the Judgment card in reverse, which is the Archangel Gabriel cards. It's the Life's Purpose card. The Judgment card is about revelations and things being brought to light and soul searching. In reverse like that, it can be about being judged on a greater level, a new karmic cycle beginning, or like having difficulty facing a new truth. And I don't get that here. I don't get that last one here at all. In fact, it comes out with the High Priestess in the upright, which is things being hidden and concealed, which fits with one of the meanings of the Judgment card in reverse, which is a truth that is concealed or a truth that has not yet come to light. That's basically, the High Priestess is the goddess Persephone's card. It is also one of the cards for intuition, mystery, and learning things as well. It's one of the feminine divine energies. When I was just talking about needing a foot in the 3D and then being able to reach into other realms, the High Priestess and the Empress are the best representations of that. The Empress is the earthly, the High Priestess is the intuitive. That comes out with the Four of Wands in the upright. Home, security, it can be a twin flame energy. It can be about gathering with others, celebrations. It's a very contented energy. Sometimes it's weddings. I have no reason to believe that one there. We'll see where it goes with this. Comes out with the Temperance card in the upright, which is a card of patience, of healing. It's a Sagittarius card. It's an alchemist's card, that whole turning lead to gold type of thing, a situation that turns from one thing to another. That's coming out with the, who are you? Six of Wands in reverse. I've got two sixes in reverse, an unbalanced situation, and that often indicates a returning energy. With the Two of Wands in reverse, which is all about committing to a path. On a delay, you may have really thwarted yourself on your own journey sometimes. We all do it. Like, that's not something to berate yourself over at all. Like, I'm always going to use me as an example because that means nobody else gets in trouble. But particularly my choice in partners has been one of the things that's held me back because I have epically bad taste sometimes, and I'm very aware of it. And that's one of the ways that I've prolonged a situation where I would not accept something that was clearly in front of my face. And that is not to berate myself, but rather once you recognize a pattern that you have established, it's easier to break it. And it's not about self-judgment. It's not about calling yourself names or being like, how could I do that? Just rather, the damage that I incurred and the things that I was trying to resolve caused me to try and cling to things that were about meeting my emotional needs and assuaging an emotional pain within, rather than living my best life in the here and the now. And it's okay. It's okay when we do that. It just means we're still trying to heal something. The Temperance card is about healing. It's also a hidden Two of Cups card. That comes out with the Two of Pentacles in reverse, which is holding somebody accountable. Yikes. That comes out with the Strength. Not the best sound for a tarot reader. We have a lot around like, oh, how is this going to go? Hopefully better than some of the cards, and it's not too bad at all. But there is a furor around some things. I don't have conflict cards around it yet, which is good. I have the Strength card in reverse, which is a card of vulnerability. It is a card of, sometimes it's a card of fear, because the Strength card in the upright is a card of courage. It's the Leo's card. It's a card of overcoming something with compassion. In reverse, and its worst incarnation is a lack of compassion. With the Hierophant, the Chariot in reverse. So I've got every form of traveling card in reverse. Something is that, and the Chariot in reverse, again, can be committing to a course of action, because the Chariot in the upright is being pulled in two different directions. It's also the astrological sign Cancer's card. It's rarely in reverse do they refer to the astrological sign. Really is like a returning energy, but it's more like a return to like who you started out to be, because that's another meaning of the Judgment card in reverse. Hierophant in the upright, one of the government cards, card of mentorship, card of traditional structures. It's a patriarchal card. It can also be a card of like teachers and guidance. Let's see what it's, it's with the Six of Swords in reverse. That comes out with the Death card in the upright, which is the card for the astrological sign Scorpio. Death, it has to be in reverse for me to be literal death. So death in the upright is transition, rebirth, new beginnings. That's coming out with the Two of Cups in the in reverse. Two Cups in reverse, and then my clarifier for my Wheel of Fortune is the actual Tower card. Okay, well, not unexpected. Remember, I have a good relationship to the Tower, because the Tower is divine intervention. The Tower is epiphanies. The Tower is, sometimes it is destruction and failure, but it is that healing chaos energy where it's some, and believe it or not, we kind of choose our towers because, well, that's not always true. We choose many of our towers, again, by resisting a change that we need to make. The Tower is change that is brought with force because all other methods have failed. Let's keep going here. Let's get a fortune card. So the energy of the month. A lot of healing work, a lot of like coming to terms with your own. Examine your past, not with an eye towards blame or with an eye towards seeing like that person hurt me so much and I feel so bad. But rather stepping outside of yourself and almost asking, how would you feel about a set of circumstances that had happened to another person? One of the things I teach my clients is that if you try and pretend something is happening to your best friend, you will get that greater perspective. And that greater perspective is often very healing. Jacob and I were talking about that on a podcast we did about divine timing. That's not up yet, but we were talking about how healing is not about judging your parents. Sometimes most people are simply a product of their circumstances. They did what they learned. Even most personality disorders result from trauma. So for instance, my mother is a raging narcissist, but looking at her like growing up experience, there was almost no way for her to escape that. And it took me a long time to recognize this, but she also must have grown up with tremendous abuse because like something normalized a lot of violence for that lady. And it's not about judging her. It's about understanding the choices that she made when she was interacting in my life, which she did very briefly at a young stage and then left me when I was much younger. They were informed by what she knew. She didn't know to do any better, so she's never done any better. And it is up to us to learn, to grow, to kind of resolve our damage so that we don't perpetrate it against others. And it's not about blaming her. It's about understanding, hey, it was never about me, and she's just a person with her own wounds, so that you can forgive and release. And forgiveness has nothing to do with saying, hey, it's just fine that you did these hideous things to me, whoever you might be forgiving. But it's rather freeing yourself from the energy of pain, of trauma, of being defined by something that was perpetrated against you. It allows you to release and to heal and to move forward. The winds of change just came out, which is another, hey, hang on to your butts type of energy, but it's not. Sometimes change is necessary. We have the winds of change on that. We're going to get one more as well to see if we're going to back that up with anything. The minstrel, let your intentions be known. Hey, the easiest way to get a good outcome in life is to simply decide who you will be and to not hold yourself to that standard, because you will always feel pretty good about yourself when you are able to respect yourself. And that's one of the easiest ways to respect yourself and to make good choices for yourself and to only accept treatment that is worthy of you, is when you hold yourself to a particular standard. And nobody's perfect. You're going to backslide. Like just this morning, I was a little impatient on the walk with the dogs because of some things that were going around here. And, just kind of apologize to them. That's something I will always be working on: temperance, patience. We have personality traits that will always challenge us. We rarely fully resolve it's a shadow side, which is something that was formed in our own personal trauma, and everybody does have trauma. For some reason, the landscaping service is out there. I think Zoom is likely to be able to filter that out, but if it sounds like I'm yelling a little bit, it's because in my own ears, I'm yelling over a lawnmower. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Let's get a soul helper card here. Group number 1, in terms of money, awesome. In terms of job, it looks good towards the end of the month, not at the beginning of the month. It does look like a month in which you need to be cognizant of choosing in service of your highest good. And the easiest way to do that is to wait on things. Don't react. Wait, sit with things, wait till you're calm to do anything. That is the easiest way to make sure that you feel good about your choices, is like, hey, I'm upset now, I'm anxious now, I'm angry now. You know what I should do? Nothing until I feel better. Nothing until I have gotten myself into the best frame of mind. Never act from a place of, all of our chakras have a negative emotion or a negative impulse associated with them. As for instance, in your root chakra, which is about security, there is fear. In your sacral chakra, which is about emotion, there's often anger, which is something that protects our like more tender emotions, including fear. In your solar plexus, it's about personal empowerment. So the lesser emotion is a feeling of helplessness or sometimes a victim mentality. It's that type of thing. If you wait until you have evened out your emotions, that whole responding, not reacting, which is the key to having a better experience and having more joy in your life, then you are likely to get better results. Let's go 1 and 2 and 3. Oh, thank God, the world's loudest leaf blower was moved. Really did feel like I was projecting to the back rows there. You are experiencing a spiritual blossoming. Take a new direction and be open to new experiences. Never hesitate to change course if things are not working. We cannot force something into a shape that is not meant. If something's not meant for us, it's not meant for us. There is nothing that we can do to thwart the divine, and we will simply exhaust ourselves trying sometimes. So if it's time to change, tracks, then do so. Try to find the ways that we resist change, and then exactly what I was talking at the top of this happens, is like more and more pressure is brought to bear on that. There we go. 1 and 2 and 3. All right. Beware, be careful who you trust at this time. We're going to get one more on that because we already had that with the Don Juan in reverse and questioning somebody's motives. And that comes out with a proposal card, which is a romantic or business opportunity is indicated. And the Chariot came out with that as well. Charge ahead with confidence, stay strong and focused. Be particularly careful when it comes to accepting, don't do things just for monetary gain. We can do that because survival is often something that makes us afraid. It costs more in the long run. If you don't do something just for personal gain, it costs more in the long run because it makes everything less safe in your life. It's the hardest thing to explain to people. If you work in service to your highest good, things have a tendency to settle down and more will come to you at the rate that is meant to. If you do things out of a fearful place or out of our lesser emotions or shadow side, it muddies the path a little bit, and we have more obstacles to overcome because we need to learn more lessons. All right, let's get going with some Infinity Oracle cards. What else have we got for pile number one? Apologies, just flipped in my face. Here we go, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Never be afraid to admit when you were wrong, or that you take accountability for your actions in the past, not so that you can berate yourself and not so that somebody else can, but so that you can recognize what you need to heal. Like just the other day, and like the person involved is actually no longer like in this particular realm. They have died. I was thinking about something I did when I was 19, where I was like, oh, well, keeping in mind that I was had been hideously traumatized from like 5 different directions, including like having people die in front of me and all kinds of things. My father died very like dramatically, basically in front of me. There was a lot that compounded a lot of trauma at a formative stage in my life. At a different point in my life, I was deeply like, what was wrong with me? And it's like, now as a much older person, I can look back, and if I look at it as if it was happening to somebody else, I would never be as punishing towards somebody else as I have been towards myself in the past. It makes perfect sense that I was messed up. A lot of messed up things that happened to me. And that's not to let yourself entirely off the hook, because there's always things to improve and to heal, but it's so that you can practice the compassion that you extend towards others, you should extend towards yourself. That's a new perspective. New perspective card. Let's get 2 more on this. 1, 2, and 3. I'm so grateful that frickin' lawnmower went away. Divine masculine, new perspective, divine masculine, slow and steady. Keep the faith. Understand that the pace of things has never been to punish you. It has always been, if you insist, you are ready for something and it's still not there, it's not that the divine is wrong. It's that there's still more work for you to do, still more things for you to heal. One of the hardest things in a purposeful journey is that we do have to learn how to persevere, because we are, like I said at the very top of this, being protected is not the same thing as being coddled. So things are not going to be paved in a never-ending smoothness, but rather you will be given the strength within and the connection above to be able to overcome the obstacles in your path. So again, if things have not come to you in the time period that you wish they had, instead of thinking that the divine doesn't know what it's doing, maybe look for what you need to gain a different perspective on in what you are doing, because sometimes the answers are there. And in the example I was just using, I needed to let my self off the hook for something that I would have let anybody else off the hook for. And was it that bad? No, it really genuinely wasn't. It was just something that I would have thought was very common in a trauma survivor at that level. And when it came to me, I held myself to a different standard. And that's one of the ways we can get in our own way, is be as loving and compassionate towards self, because that is part of self-respect and self-love, as you would towards anybody else. Now, if you're very punishing towards other people, maybe work on that, because it doesn't gain anything and it just creates the energy that you are living in, and that poisons your own well. Here we go. Let's get going with the messages of love cards. And we all do it. We all do it. Like I said, one of the things I had to resolve was a lot of anger in my 20s. And I became so averse to anger that I wouldn't allow myself to get angry for a very long time. And unfortunately, we do need a small spark of anger to tell us when somebody is violating our boundaries. Fate. This is a destined partnership. Marriage, children, past life love, play hard. What do we have saying here? That can actually be about resolving inner child healing and childhood wounds, because the marriage, children, and past life, our past life cards are often about our own formative experience. For some people, it may be about starting a relationship with somebody who has children. And for others, it is resolving trauma that tells you that you can never relax and play and enjoy your life until you have this and this and the other thing. And here's the thing, that is not how happiness will ever work. If you think happiness is a destination you're trying to get to that is beyond you, and you cannot have it until such time as you have this laundry list of things that you've checked off, you're very unlikely to ever stay happy for very long, because once you have acquired something, it is human nature to simply put our eyes towards a different goal. Trying to find the happiness and the joy in everyday existence is the easiest path towards happiness. And easiest, sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes, particularly when you don't have anything that you've been really striving for, really working towards, it can be really hard to start, going through, but I do have a comfortable bed, but I do have a car I like, but I do think it's a beautiful day. And look, there's a butterfly, but it helps so, so much. Soulmates, soul connection, partnership agreement, soul contract. Let's see what else that's coming out with. 1 and 2 and 3. I don't have a lot of now's the time, but there is some energy around that. Remember, things happen when they are meant to. They really do. Coffin, endings, endings bring new beginnings. That's the Scorpio energy, the death card energy. Growth, change, liberation, and transition with the runner. Runner in a codependent relationship, fear of intimacy, listening to ego, Axe. Breakup, separation, stop the pattern, silent treatment, abandonment. One of the things that happens with the concept of people being in separation is that sooner or later, you kind of start wondering, is this treatment I really would take in a partnership? Because you have to assume that the person that you are, desiring, who's not with you, has not fundamentally changed. And this is the way that they are treating you. Is that treatment really worthy of who you are and what you want to have in a partnership? That's what stopping the pattern can be. And that's what, the other day I put up a love reading and somebody made a comment about how they had encountered a great deal of rejection and what were they supposed to learn from that. And it is about, well, are you sure that maybe you're not looking for your validation in another person's eyes? Because that's what can happen when people are constantly drawn to somebody who has that fear of intimacy, who is not seeking a truly intimate union because of their own issues. But somebody gets their self-worth wrapped up in love. If this person loves me, then I will feel lovable. Love yourself, and then you will care a great deal less about whether or not that person loves you. In fact, when you love yourself, you're very unlikely to look at a runner and be like, yeah, that's swell. I want that in my life. And I'm not judging it at any level. I want the best love for you, want the best love for yourself too. And one of the ways to do that is to examine, is this person really what I want in a relationship, or am I imagining who they would be when they were in a relationship with me? And it's very different from how they have acted so far. And if that's the answer, do your own work and try to stop that pattern, to stop a feeling of needing a particular person to feel like you have worth. See yourself as the divine sees you. Love yourself. All right. Healing family issues. I had a feeling that children card had to do with resolving some, childhood trauma, some formative damage, some child healing, inner child healing. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Went into that at the beginning of this. And then I've got honeymoon, enjoy the bliss of the holiday time together. It is safe for you to love and release your ex. Joy and bliss are not necessarily about another person. Joy is available to us when we view our lives as being a joyful experience. And again, if you cannot be happy unless you have a particular person by your side, that's something to work on versus something to go towards. Because when you can only be happy when another person is there, they have a lot of power over our happiness. And it creates an energetic imbalance that will likely lead to toxicity over the course of time, even if it does not start out that way. There we go. 1 and 2 and 3. We're getting some enchanted map cards. We're going to get some energy cards, and then we're going to get to the next pile. Timestamps will be edited in after the broadcast. Magical map shifter, metamorphosis, come together, coming to life. Again, I've got some people meeting people. I've got some hooking up energy. And then I've also got this is a good energy around this. Magical map shifter is you have the personal power, or someone is coming into your life who does. Metamorphosis is a change energy. We've had multiples on that. Come together and then coming to life. That is joining with others, not necessarily romantically, but feeling a part of things as well. Come together is not actually necessarily a romantic card. Let's get going with the energy cards here today. February, you're looking interesting. And of course, it contains Valentine's Day. So it does make sense to me that there's a hint of romance, but not an over focus of it. Because again, I really am a reader who focuses more on our spiritual evolution and development. There we go. Which is not to say there's anything wrong with romance. Romance is delightful. It's just, it's part of our picture versus the picture we're trying to paint wholly. Carrying connections, good for you guys. The sun, which is healing. The Archangel Raphael, which is the heart space energy, woman holding a coin, and then angel of love. All right, for those who are very much in the mood for it, there are options, new beginnings. Carrying connections with the sun. It's also, I kind of wanted to say this on the first one as well, good conception energy for those who are looking to expand a family. Good self-love energy on this, good feelings of security. Put in the work on trying to heal whatever damage might be holding you back, and you will make progress. It does involve, sometimes we really do have to let go of something that we thought was our everything in order to see a clearer picture. And not always, like, don't hear that. If you hear something and you react to it with fear or feeling threatened, it's either not your message or not the time for that message. And that doesn't mean that you'll eventually come to it, just meaning it may be a part of your journey and it may not. Your real messages will not make you feel threatened. They will not cause you fear. They will resonate, and it'll be like, sometimes you won't even want to hear them, but you'll be like, yeah, that sounds about right. Your angel answer is not the right time. Why? Don't know. That's going to be that's for whatever it was you were asking about. It's not its time. That happens sometimes. Let's get these guys out of the way, and we're going to move on to pile 2. I'm remembering my tabletops. It's a miracle, at least so far. If I leave pile 2s out for the rest of the reading, then I will no longer be able to make that claim. I'm moving on to pile number 2. Timestamps will be edited in after the broadcast. Have a beautiful February pile number 1. Let's get going for pile number 2 with one of my favorite decks, the Connolly deck. And it's very vivid and vibrant. The images are reminiscent of the Rider-Waite for my fellow readers, but it does contain slightly different imagery, and it's very, very, very vivid. All right, we have love yourself for the courage you've shown to arrive at your best version today. Please love yourself in all your incarnations and all your stages and all your forms. Never look back on a former version of yourself, a part of you that you have resolved or outgrown, with disdain or as if that person is somehow lesser. That plucky person got you to where you are today. Love the heck out of that little courageous person. Understand that we all have things to overcome, every single last one of us. So again, love yourself in all your forms, but loving yourself is not the same thing as saying, I must change nothing. It's saying, I love myself regardless of what I am working on. I know that I have worth. I know that I have good intent, and I know that I have a heart that loves. All right, we have, oh, this is pretty. The lizard and the pitcher plant, stagnation, not as pretty. We're held in stasis sometimes until we can take a greater perspective on things. As I said, with pile number 1, which is the Earth group, which is the 3D group, again, you'll have different groups and different elements at different times. This is the emotion group. So this is the about the sacral chakra and emotions. Fire, actions taken. It's the lesser emotions, anger, impulse, creativity. Let's see what this has to say. It really is like you're struggling with how, like, you keep trying to repress negative emotions rather than confront them for what they're trying to tell you. And you will still have them sometimes. Negative emotions are not our enemies. Like I said earlier in the first pile, like, I was a little frustrated and quite frankly angry this morning. I didn't react to it at all, but I was like aware that it's like, I am ticked off. And so I didn't do anything about it, but it was very interesting. It was like a ticker tape playing in my head. It's like, I'm mad. New beginnings. That's the angel answer card. I actually didn't focus on it, so I didn't say it. That will come at the end of the reading. The premise behind that is if that you have a question that I did not address, hopefully that card will help with it. New beginnings and stagnation. Here's what this is saying, that once you are able to accept all parts of yourselves as something that you can love, don't judge yourself negatively, because when we do that, we close the door to growth and to healing. You have to be self-accepting, even of, like, you know, things that maybe you don't like. I don't love my temper. I don't love it. It's against who I wish to be in this world. It's also an integral part of who I am. I'm a very like, type of person. And so I have a big boom bang sometimes behind me. And I will always be trying to keep my monster on a leash and make it work for me rather than making it, you know, letting it loose. Once you achieve that, the ability to look at why you won't look at that, because it's almost always involving shame of who we were, shame of what we did. Shame is the least productive thing there is. It's part of the reason that something like Catholicism does not work as a path to the divine, because it tries to control people through fear and shame. Fear and shame are these very confining and conforming energies. Being able to look at yourself without shame, but with being able to be held accountable for what you've done, is the path to healing. I have Ram, a stubborn, aggressive person. Well, I guess we know what my path is here, apparently. So a stubborn and aggressive person. Stubbornness is willpower turned against yourself. Think of it that way. When you're stubborn, you have tremendous willpower, but you're not using it in a way that will serve you. And aggression, usually anything that has to do with aggression usually is about something we're protecting a fear. And Rams, of course, that is the Aries card as well. We'll see what's going on with that. Child eternal. Oh, it's in the upright, thank goodness. Light attribute, determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, ability to see things with fresh eyes. What I'm always trying to get my clients to understand, because particularly women are just, they don't like the days going by and getting older, and they always think it diminishes their value. Hey, listen, society programmed into your head, and it's absolute BS. Aging is an energy. It is not a number. If you are always trying to grow, always trying to experience, always trying to reach for something even more and expand yourself, and to live in this purposeful, expansive energy of love, you will age in a way that you will not feel older, and you will likely not be perceived often as being older, because you have an animating force that is very connected. And what age actually is when our animating force begins to dwindle and our flame goes down. Now, does it have exterior things that go with it? Yes, but our attachment to the exterior in this world is to keep us really focused on that which is superficial, which that is the least valuable thing about us. And that can be a very hard thing in a world that reacts first to our exterior. But have you ever known somebody who was really, really pretty, and then you got to know them, or really, really attractive, and you got to know them and you're like, wow, you're kind of a jerk, and they became less attractive? That's how all forms of attraction work. When you know somebody and you like them, they are more attractive because it is their internal light that attracts, rather than the very superficial of you are a pretty object type of thing. Love yourself no matter what you look like, because you have a lot of control in who you will be in this world. And if people react negatively or positively to your exterior, that is not the same thing as knowing you. Be who you wish to be in this world, and you'll experience more joy and love. And then I have a message in a bottle. Message is trying to reach you type of energy. That's a guidance energy. You do have the stagnation thing, and it is around, you have some sacral chakra work to do here. Make sure you're using your determination in a way that serves you. We have a lot of love yourself energy on this one. Goodbye to the old, hello to the new. You've finished one part of your life, and now a new and even better part is beginning. We have message in a bottle and new beginnings on that. And then I have joyous fun. Yay. So that is a card of exuberance, of delight. I'm not sure what it's referring to yet, so let's get some tarot cards now. Here we go, the Conley Tarot. I found this in a local crystal shop. I never even saw it online, and it's genuinely one of my favorite decks, particularly for relationships, which, because of the type of reader that I am, I look so deeply into artwork. I use different decks for romance than I do for something like career or spiritual work, or, the everyday, like, what are my guides trying to tell me type of thing. 1 and 2 and 3. And as much as we want to focus on romance, our journey is broader than that. So try to always encompass more than just, I want love. Start by loving yourself, and you will have a great deal of love in your life, regardless of who is by your side. Let's go. 1 and 2 and 3. Hope you guys are doing well. Remember, I can't see anything over there. Looks like somebody's spamming. I'm just going to remove your comments. So, I'm glad that you're joining me. But if you're spamming my live feed, okay, it's not gonna bother me. I just will remove them when we're done. We go 1 and 2 and 3. All right. It always cracks me up when I get these porn spams as well, because it's like, really? How'd you make that connection? Not likely my audience. Queen of Swords in reverse, someone who can't face a difficult truth sometimes. someone who's a little honked off as well. Comes with the Knight of Swords in the upright, which is certainty, swiftness, movement, messages. It's the fastest moving energy in the deck. Like there's a little bit of a whirlwind energy on this month with the King of Pentacles in reverse, which can be about insecurity. It can be a depression card as well. It's like a lack of feeling of worth, self-worth sometimes is the foundation. You really are being asked to work on how you feel about yourself to have a better experience. Six of Swords in reverse in the recent past. We'll see what that one is. I have a strange relationship to that card. It is one of the few literal death cards for me. And it has to be in combination with other things, but sometimes it's a blocked energy. Sometimes it's also a returning energy. With 10 of Cups in reverse, that can be like a broken family type of energy, a divorce situation, releasing a breakup, a lack of fulfillment. With the Eight of Swords in reverse, which is a freedom energy, being released from doubt. Honest to goodness, the first cards are really about healing within to have a better experience without, meaning your 3D world will become better when your interior world is healed. And how do you do that? You just have to put in the work. You just do. And it can be long and arduous and like take much longer than we want almost always, but it's always worthwhile to do. Comes out with the Eight of Wands in reverse. That can be somebody who's blocked on social media. It can also be a delay. I've got delays on this more than anything. The Sun in reverse, another need to heal something. Group number two, and that's in an external position. That's a warning around health sometimes. I have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, which is frustration. Depressive and frustrated energy are the things that you want to work on. And that is really like what happens when you're frustrated. Are you worried that things won't work out? And that's about having a lack of faith in your ability to make them work out. When you're angry at the divine, are you sure that maybe you're not just angry because like your choices got you to a certain place that you're having difficulty getting out of, which is the story of my life. Like whenever I look at my past, it's like, yeah, I made my path more difficult because I was too stubborn. I clung to things that weren't really for me and I wouldn't accept that they weren't for me. And as usual, my nose is running because I'm kind of allergic to Oscar, who I love, love, love. So Six of Wands in reverse, lots of like not going anywhere type of energy, things being delayed around you. But I also have new beginnings, and then I also have things happening quickly. It's like blockages will be removed when you put the effort in on it. In terms of progress in your career or in your personal life, mixed bag. Looks good on the career. Personal life will require the efforts that we put into it, and it always does. It just always does. The Star in the upright is the dreams coming true energy. It's the Aquarius energy. It is the card of faith, of psychic connections as well. That comes out with the Six of Cups in the upright, past life relationships. Sometimes it's kindness and generosity. Some people see it as nostalgia. It has to be in reverse for me for that. I'm not a very nostalgic person. I have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Man, there is like a weird failure around health around this. With the Ten of Swords in the upright, that is something ending, something new beginning, the need to release. It is the card of a needing to align your chakras as well, because in the Rider-Waite, the figure is pierced along their chakra points. I'm not getting a bad vibe with this. King of Swords in reverse. I've got my Queen and my King of Swords in reverse. Now that can be about lying to yourself, being lied to. The Ten of Swords can be a backstabbing energy. I don't believe it is here. It's like there's more to come on a situation after you do your own work. Clarity will come to you after you are healed. I have the Page of Pentacles in the upright, which is learning life's lessons. Hey, the Page of Pentacles can be a spell work card as well. It tends to be the Seven of Cups for me. And why is the Page of Pentacles a spell work card? Because in the Rider-Waite, the pentacle is levitating. With the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, again, a failure to learn a lesson. It's like this particular pile is saying that your progress is impeded not by the divine or the greater world as much as like there's something you don't want to look at in your life, and it has to do with something that you need to heal and resolve. It's like it's something in the here and now that you're trying to cling to or want is actually related to an injury that you thought you resolved but have not. And that frequently happens. In order to heal, in order to forgive, we actually have to recognize what something did to us. And I've gone into some of like the epically bad stories about like, I didn't want to look at that because it was too horrible. And once I did, it was like, oh, well, first of all, I'm safe in the here and the now. So the past can't hurt us as long as we take that perspective. And for people who have CPTSD or PTSD, and I attract a lot of trauma survivors because trauma is a little bit part of life, but also because, you know, there's a lot of abuse in generational curses, which are also generational traumas. And so a lot of people are walking around with compounded emotional trauma from their formative experience, not often out of malice. Sometimes it's out of malice, but not often. Usually people just do what they do because they don't know any better. If you didn't know any better, it's hard to do any better. This is a call to look at your past with that perspective, including the people who may have been in your life. Again, if true malice is there, that's a different thing. Turning that over to a divine source, being like, hey, this gets me too angry. I don't think I'm the right person to judge here. You should probably take this, is the way to release that. With the Four of Swords in the upright. Boy, there's like a red light, green light energy all over this. Like progress is made and then you stop. Progress is made and then you stop. Over and over again. It seems to be in the practical world more than it is in the spiritual world, but it is reflected in the spiritual world as well. And with this Ram energy and a couple of other things in stagnation, please understand that it's there within you. The answer is there within you. And when you can't make things budge in the here and the now, stop and ask yourself, what am I still clinging to from the past? Sometimes because it's too painful to look at, or sometimes because I've resolved it only to a certain level, but there are still layers beneath that. It comes out with the Two of Swords in the upright. Denial is impeding your healing. And we're all in forms of denial. It's not a judgment. And don't be harsh on yourself when you engage in that. People forget denial is protective. We face things as we are able to. We don't want to re-traumatize ourselves trying to heal. That comes out with the Nine of Cups, which is a disappointment sometimes. Can be a lack of like, a lack of just like a joy in life too. With the Six of Pentacles in the upright, which is a balanced state, good give and take. Disappointment in it's either yourself or the progress that the divine has made in your life. It's like you think you've been given a consolation prize rather than being aided on a journey. And you're aided on a journey, and then just like, please understand, new things are beginning, and the only thing that they're asking you to do is look to the past to find out why you're stagnated in the present. And it seems to be impeding your progress and causing that red light, green light energy. Stop, go, stop, go. With the Six of Wands in the upright, which is triumph over adversity and progress, particularly in a financial setting or in a setting in the career. Career looks fine, again, with the stop and the go. For people who are looking for jobs, what do we got? A connection from the past is more likely to bring you an opportunity. There really is this kind of look to what is going on around you to find the lesson that keeps repeating until such time as you learn it, because we all do that. It's the repeat it until it is repaired scenario, which happens most, like the easiest place to spot that is in our personal relationships. Like, you know, we frequently, when we are looking in retrospect, which is the easiest place to see things with clarity, we'll discover it's like, wow, I just kept kind of dating the same type of person over and over again. I must have been trying to resolve something. And in fact, just looking at my own history, boy, do my partners like resemble my, you know, very, very toxic parents sometimes, because we do choose people that will help us resolve things. But then we get trapped in an energy where we're not resolving it. The energy repeats so that we have an opportunity to resolve, but resolution, because it gets so close to our emotional core, can be difficult. So be gentle and patient and kind with yourself. I have wish. Your heart's desire is ready to come true. Snake. Use your intuition and healing powers, and they will guide you to a better path, but be careful. Fire. Let go of emotional upheaval and embrace the renewal of the present. Remember, when wishes manifest, it may not take the form that you think. Like the very worst things that have happened to me made the best things possible, and I can always see it behind me. And so I've learned to, like, when something goes a little bit awry or wrong, I'm like, well, I'm sure it's in service of something. The snake, use your intuition, but be careful. One of the things that can really help in spiritual protection is constant grounding and shielding. You can say Psalm 91 to help protect you, because other people have attachments. Most people have attachments. Empaths are little sponges. As we walk around in the world, we transmute other people's energy. And so their stuff has a tendency to cling to us. And you just have to take very protective steps to kind of be on your own side, to live in your own energy, rather than exacerbating or exaggerating energies within you, which is what happens. Like if you encounter somebody who's really, really angry, and even if they're not angry at you, you might feel like resentment at a level that does not quite fit your situation. Sometimes you really do have to recognize when you've got other people's stuff on you. At the end of every day after reading, I have to clear, like it is my full-time job, because all day long I transmute other people's energy, and I have to make sure I kind of scrub it off so I don't, like, don't walk around with it. It is time for a change. Do not put it off. Don't put off decisions any longer. And it comes out, live playfully and with a light heart. Listen to the voice of your inner child. There is something in inner child healing for you that still needs to be discovered. And again, one of the biggest messages and the best message to take away from any like healing journey is, if you think happiness is something that is ahead of you, it's never that. It doesn't work that way. Happiness is a choice in the here and the now. And sometimes when you're suffering, that is an insulting thing to hear. It's like, how could I possibly be happy? You're healing, and that does hurt. Understand that sometimes we're going through things that are so rough that the way to get through them is to understand nothing is permanent unless I make it permanent. So keep telling yourself this will get better. It will get better. And I can look at that in my own life after like healing from severe trauma, particularly over the last 4 years. Like I get better and better every day. When I look at myself this time last year, it's like, yep, I'm better here, I'm better there. Do I still have things to heal? I don't think so, but maybe. Like we always have to be open to the concept that we're still like missing something in the back of our personal closet that we're organizing. Air, seeking union of mind and spirit. Look for your guidance. Try to meditate. That Four of Swords in the upright is a card of meditating. Here's the thing, people with really active minds and people who are trauma survivors are frequently very anxious as well, have trouble with meditating. Go towards open-eyed meditation, which is usually scenic things that aren't very challenging. Music that like is classical or has no lyrics to it can also be a background noise that only has half your attention. Your mind is engaged, so the spinning part of it has something to do, and that gets you into a state of receptivity. As I'm always trying to get people to understand, meditation takes different forms for different people. The seer, follow your intuition. And I want one more on that. The wizard, use your skill to aid others. One of the easiest ways to clear your energy is to make sure that you are doing for others helps you, because it helps you feel better about yourself. If you're struggling with the concepts of self-love, then you may be struggling with not seeing what you are admirable in. And one of the easiest ways to get into that energy is to help others, is to volunteer, but empaths need to be very careful with that, because friendships where somebody just tells you all their problems and that's it, that's not a friendship. That it genuinely isn't. There is reciprocity in all relationships. So it is better to go towards circumstances such as volunteering, where that's the role that you're there to fulfill. And what you get in return is that like feeling of like, I feel good about myself because I did something good. But if you don't think that being an ear for your friends serves the same purpose, unless they're also an ear for your troubles on a regular basis. Empaths are very prone to being other people's emotional dumping ground. And then they don't have anybody who does that for them, because realistically, most of the stuff that we handle, we're meant to handle with our own internal process. And sometimes we need support. Busy and distracted, speak your truth. Messages from spirit. I want one more. Union. I want one more on that. Summer, which is growth. Union can be self-integration. It's not always about an exterior relationship. Busy and distracted, speak your truth. Listen, I keep getting this weird, like trying to avoid a truth that it's not comfortable. And that's, again, not any type of judgment. It's just a little heads up on where am I supposed to look with my flashlight as I look inside of me to see what I'm supposed to heal. That's where to look. It's like the thing that sometimes we cling to outdated structures. We outgrow things, and sometimes they become an integral part of ourselves, and we have a hard time admitting that it's like, that's no longer who I am. So that's the only thing that I've got is like, make sure that you're not holding on to something for a feeling of security, particularly in an emotional sense. Protect what you love. It is your duty and responsibility. Have the courage to be free. Know that freedom begins where desire ends. So an interesting, like the use on that, freedom begins where desire ends. Want and need are very, very close cousins. And need-based anything means that there is something within us that needs to be healed. Look within, not without, to find the things that you need. And you do have them. You do have the ability to be self-comforting, to be self-entertaining, to love yourself, to keep yourself company. One of the tricks that I teach clients all the time is that listen, like record yourself talking about your feelings on voice memo and play it back to you. And don't forget to include positive things and where you think you've made your progress. And that is because particularly people who came out of childhood trauma, their inner dialogue, the ways they talk to themselves, they think it's their own thought process, and it's not. It's how you were programmed to think about yourself. And so the easiest way to start overwriting that is to provide it with different information, whether it is listening to spiritual teachers that you enjoy because the concepts then settle in and grow within you, or whether it's talking to yourself. You need to learn a different approach to self in order to have a better outcome. Putting these guys on the side over here as we continue to take some oracle cards. I don't think I got your love cards yet. Let's keep going here. Remember, timestamps will be edited in after the broadcast. I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter. So I've taken fewer oracle cards. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Let's get this guy because you're popping. Oh, strictly sexual, which can be a passion card, which can be about feelings as well. It can also be about a physical reaction to another person that is not on an emotional level. Meaning that sometimes the connection we feel to somebody is that we're very, very attracted to them, but it is actually a sexual thing. And like when you start to examine their personality, you're like, I don't know about you. And that's fine. But we have a tendency sometimes to ignore the I don't know about you because we feel that desire for somebody. Remember, that's a normal part of being a human being. Friendship. Oh, some people might have friends with benefits energy. Balance. And then I have twin flame with obstacles, protected. Okay. Strictly sexual, balance, twin flames, obstacles, and protected. Hey, one of the ways to determine whether or not somebody that you really like is really meant for you is to ask yourself, were you really good friends? Did you talk about things that you both were interested in? Did you laugh together? Did you have a good time together? Don't just judge things on the, wow, we had great sex, because that really is a very physical thing. That's a chemical thing. And somebody we're really, really physically attracted to may not be somebody that we're meant to be with. And twin flame energy, remember, our twin flames contain something that we're missing, then we contain something that they're missing. It's a mirror relationship that kind of shines a flashlight into the corners of our soul to try and help us highlight what it is we need to address. And then protected, if you're being held back from something, it's not because, quite frequently, it is your higher self intervening on your behalf. And my higher self has done that on multiple occasions. It can be a little disconcerting, particularly when it's like, but I really wanted that. And my higher self is like, no, it actually wasn't good for you. Because I have a very, very long relationship with like getting in my own way and being a little self-destructive. Not any longer, but like sincerely, I think it's very common for people who were, quite badly abused as young people and bullied and any of the other things that can traumatize a person's self-image. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Sometimes we're looking for a remedy in an exterior source. And the only thing that will truly heal us comes from within and understanding ourselves and accepting ourselves. It's a hard concept. We have karmic relationship, fleeting triggers, turmoil, resentment, lessons, letting go, and loving you. Letting go is always with that twin flame card. I always, and people don't like it when they're in this, like, because twin flames are so compelling. When they're in that dynamic, when they hear, hey, the answer is always to let go, it is because it will not alter the outcome at all. Meaning, if that person is meant for you, they're going to be with you. You letting go just frees you up to do your work, which is the way to bring about union. And if by any chance you've mistaken a karmic relationship for a twin flame connection, letting go will allow you to heal and be free and to find your real person. So that's why letting go is always the answer. And doing our own work is the way to make progress on our path. The sword and the rose: clarity, truth, revelation, solidarity, force, honor, protection, and power. Heart with a key: welcoming love, meeting the one, open your heart, getting together, and perfect. It really is like letting go of something will bring either that version to you or what is meant for you to come to you. Please remember that. Like, people genuinely, like, whenever like, I'm not laughing at it in a mocking concept, but I always kind of chuckle after I finish particularly a love reading in which there was a bunch of let go. And I'm like, there goes the thumbs down on me, because nobody likes to hear it when they're in the grips of, I just want what I want. When you have that feeling, understand that's not a healthy energy. That's a compulsive energy. It's an obsessive energy, and it means that there's something there to be healed. It's not a condemnation nor a criticism of you. It is your guides genuinely being like, hey, we're over here. Let go of that for the time being. Love you. We do. Let's go with your romance angels. So that's why you will sometimes get a call to let go. And remember, like, everybody has their own unique experience. There are energy signatures that repeat, which is why we have collectives, and why collectives have a similar experience that manifests in their own unique ways in different people's lives. Energy signatures repeat. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. And that's why we get these reverberations, the repair it until you repeat it until you repair it energy. When you keep hearing calls to let go, if your response is anger, anger protects fear. You're afraid to let go, it's an abandonment issue. That's what you need to look at. And I'm not trying to be unkind to anybody. I want you to have the best love and the best life that you possibly can. And sometimes that involves needing to look at things that we don't want to look at, because, again, our self-worth gets tied up in who loves us. Whereas when we have self-worth, we only accept those who love us into our lives. Soulmate. Aha. Yes, this is your soulmate. Keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. Sometimes we have placeholder relationships that are karmic relationships as well. And that is not defining anybody's personal experience. If you're hearing that, remember, the only thing that will really give you your own personal information is a personal reading. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. These are general readings and they can't apply to everybody. Just keep it in mind. Particularly if somebody is not present in your life, examine if it is time to be like, well, are they really the right person for me? Or do I have a part of me wrapped up in the idea that, like, I'm lovable if this person wants me because I want them? And sometimes it genuinely is just a sexual attraction, which is not always based in the character of somebody. It's really a hormonal thing. Coming apart. Oh, flying greater perspective. With spirit of place, moonlight, which is intuition and things being revealed through intuition. Hey, listen, like, I'm not going to say it 50,000 times. You got something where you're being asked to step outside of yourself and examine whether or not it is time to let go of something, which is the coming apart energy, in order to have a better experience going forward. And letting go of something is not the same thing as it never happening. It just means that when we're hanging on to something, there is that push and pull energy. It's like magnets pushing each other apart type of energy. Let go so you can heal, so you can do your own work. And then if that person is not meant for you, you'll be fine with it. Like, when you're like, it will never be distressing. It's just a little bit of work, things to, and the work that we do is about healing our wounds so that we can have a beautiful and expansive and celebratory experience in this life. It's not punishment. And feel that way sometimes. Let's go. Archangel Michael, first chakra, Archangel Michael, that's root chakra work, which is about security. Door to spirit, woman holding a heart, walking away. Envy. This is a jealousy card. This is a coveting somebody else's stuff or a person card. letting go of don't look at other people, see what they have and say, why don't I have that too? Heal yourself, and what is meant for you comes to you. And then in this particular instance, root chakra work, meditation, and potentially examining your relationship to your primary caretaker or your nurturing influence, your mom, may be in there as well. All right, I have no need to worry. Well, that's a great energy. We have, like I said, first pile, I covered it just a little bit. We have some fractious energy in the greater world. I think everything will be fine. I don't think it lasts very long. Be safe for the time being. It's just there's a little bit of conflict energy out there once again. Things need to change, and conflict comes with that sometimes when we resist change. I'm moving on to pile number 3. Timestamps will be edited in after the broadcast. There we go. I hope everybody's doing well. Hey, behind you, I can make out your name today. I have the weirdest eyesight. Sometimes I see much better than I do at other times, and it really depends on how engaged my psychic eye is. Let's go with, it is easy to love and accept the light side of yourself. It takes courage to acknowledge and love the darker side. Love the impossible parts of you. Usually those are the things that fought for you, but do work on them. And if you've been watching me for any length of time, oh my gosh, can I be the most stubborn jackass in the world when I feel like it? I really people who read for me. Jacob, the guy who does me, and he's on my podcast. Jacob is 6'5", and it takes somebody who has like a giant amount of energy to be able to deal with my guides. I've had other people read for me and they're like, your guides are really, I'm like, yeah, I know. Well, they have to deal with me. So half the times my guides are like, no, we're not telling you that. It's not good for her. Nothing you can do will make us do it. We have to deal with her every day. You are not going to steamroll us. And that's the part of myself that it's like, wow, that's impossible. When I make that work for me, it's determination. When I am letting it guide and protect my ego, it is the thing that blocks out my answers. All right, the turtle and the coriander. Satisfaction. Yeah, that's lovely. Solitude. Enjoy being alone. And here's why. Because if you are your own best friend, if you love your own company, if you experience your own existence joyfully, when you meet another person or have another person in your life, they add to that and they increase it, but they never control it. And that is why you have to be happy by yourself first. And it doesn't mean you have to be single. It means that you have to be capable of fully appreciating your life's journey, whether or not you have a partner, and finding joy and love and merriment and interest and excitement, whether or not you're paired up. And that really is the key to having healthy relationships with self and with others. Let's go for your tea leaf card. Angel, spiritual guidance, protection from harm. This is a very protected energy on this. Solitude with satisfaction. Yeah, you really are being told. And here's the thing, when you really, really, really want a person and you don't have a person, it feels insulting to be told that. I'm being condemned to being alone. If you view it that way, that's a sign of something to heal. Because hanging out with you should be a great experience, particularly if you want love. Then really liking you and liking hanging around you is one of the things that will make you only accept the love that you are worthy of, because you will already love you. All right, this Avenger came out in reverse. This is the only oracle card I ever read in reverse, because there's a shadow and a light attribute. The shadow attribute is what's being emphasized. Resorting to violence in the name of a cause. That's that fractious energy we've got in the news cycle right now. The situation in Memphis, which was obscene amounts of police brutality, is something that may cause some conflict within the United States at this particular time. Other places have their own conflicts going on. There's a little bit of a contentious energy. Remember, things build up when we won't confront them and solve them before it reaches a pressure cooker environment. Milk and honey. Good energy around business, which is good, and a lot of satisfaction energy too. Greater world though, be careful with that. Travel. An upcoming trip proves to be life-changing in positive ways. Honest to goodness, travel does not necessarily mean hopping on an airplane or taking a trip. It really can be something that you drive to a place and a thing happens. I get this card sometimes literally when I'm going to the store. Now, admittedly, I pull cards at the beginning of every day. And then the healing light. Your healing journey continues. More is coming to you. That's a very abundant energy. I'm going to check you one more time. You are safe from harm. They are trying to let you know that you actually are safe from the greater world experiences. Now, safe, again, is not the same thing as being pampered. It is safe. And why aren't we pampered when we're protected? Because we learned how to believe in ourselves, how to trust ourselves, how to know our own power when we meet our challenges. And if you want your challenges to become less pronounced, then go towards them and meet them, knowing that they are here to teach you what you are really capable of doing, including not giving up on yourself, because that is the key to almost every form of expansion. And we've got the tarot at the end of the rainbow, bringing you a predictive spread. Here we go, 1 and 2 and 3. And by the way, if somebody wasn't spamming and I was just like, hey, I think you're spamming, please excuse me. I just kept seeing the same thing over and over again, which is usually the porn spammers in my chat stream, which baffles me as a concept. like what, how are you making that connection? It's the strangest thing. There's nothing in my description or anything. There we go, 1 and 2 and 3. Not that I'm against sex. Sex is absolutely wonderful. It's just that it's a strange thing to connect to a healing reader. I have the 4 of Wands in reverse as your querent card. It's coming out with the 6 of Swords in reverse as well. So the 4 of Wands in reverse can be a lack of contentment. It can be a twin flame and separation energy. It can also be being a little out of balance and a little out of sorts. The 6 of Swords in reverse is sometimes it's like something returning to you, like your self returning to you, a former state of being returning to you. Sometimes it's a person returning. Let's find out. 1 and 2 and 3. That's the crossing situation. I don't think it's delays and that they're causing, like, frustration in multiple areas of your life. 8 of Wands in reverse. Now, the 8 of Wands in the upright is a swift moving energy. It is travel, it is falling in love, it is communication. In reverse, it can be being blocked on social media, but it can also be a delayed journey or something that needs to be rescheduled, or a block being in place until you accomplish something. It comes out with the Queen of Pentacles in the upright in the recent task, Queen of Pentacles, Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus energy. I'm not the biggest astrological reader, meaning that this is more likely to refer to something in the 3D, like being a teacher, being a nurse, being a therapist. These are all 3D professions that are infrastructure related, which is what the Pentacles refer to. It can also be about security. The Queen of Pentacles is somebody who is in a very balanced state, because she can handle all sorts of things and keep her calm. And that comes out with the Queen of Wands in the upright. That's the fire sign energy. The Queen of Wands is somebody who makes things happen. She's compelling, she's charismatic. And remember, gender is meaningless in tarot. When we say she, it is just about the divine feminine. And when we say he, it is about the divine masculine. And we all contain some of both. The Queen of Wands, the queens are gestating things and the kings are manifesting them. Let's see what she's gestating here. The King of Wands in reverse. That's the divine masculine and the divine feminine in balance. With the 3 of Cups in reverse, which is solitude, it can be a third-party situation depending on the position within a spread. This is the internal card as an isolation energy, with the Fool in the upright, which is a leave the past behind energy. It is the take the leap of faith. It is the start over, the downsizing. It can be a new beginning card as well. It's also a card for animal communication sometimes. Here we go. We've got it with the 2 of Swords in reverse, clear, open psychic eye. When you do your work, your intuition is a flowing thing. And you need fewer answers, by the way. That is one of the things that you will find. The more and more healed you are, the fewer and fewer answers you need to make you, because people want answers because they want reassurance that everything's going to be all right. As you heal, you're like, I think I'll be able to make everything all right. And particularly if you are intuitive, you will get readings to check up on what's coming your way as with interest rather than fear. This comes out with the Knight of Wands in reverse. That's a honked off, aggressive energy sometimes. Well, we've got that conflict and resorting to violence. With the 10 of Wands in the upright, from a heavy burden, an overburdened situation. I get that card sometimes for weightlifting, honestly. The 9 of Cups in the upright. What are you trying to say to me? Something is manifesting in your life, but the harder you push, the more you block it out. Your frustration is blocking energy. Work particularly on your sacral chakra. It is causing you to, it's not impatience, it's actually frustration with the why not now? because you're very frustrated, and that creates an energetic blockage. Frustration blocks flow, both in you and for the universe. And that is one of the reasons that we get bazillions of requests to heal our patience. Patience is peace, patience is power, and patience is being in flow. And patience is not boring. It's a delightful feeling when you can achieve it, because you're not like upset by things. You're interested, you're intrigued, you're excited, but you're not frustrated or angry or nervous. I have that with the 10 of Cups in reverse. I have that with the, the Justice card in reverse. An unfair situation in a family situation that has caused a great deal of frustration. Begin again, even if you've been working on your frustration and your patience. If you've had something in place for decades, you will need a maintenance program around it. It may never truly be resolved. Like, I am never going to be like, mild. I do not have a mild personality. It is something that you will need to. Here's the thing. I think you've mostly resolved it, and I think that's the part you needed to hear. Remember, it's going to require maintenance. You're never quite done. We're never finished. We're never finished. We're always working on it. And we will always have a shadow side, because everything contains a counterbalancing energy, which is how we remain in balance. So that very thing that I'm always referring to, which is like, I can be like a stubborn ass when I feel like it. That is also the thing that gives me drive, that gives me willpower, that allows me to manifest. That which makes you awesome can also make you suck. And you just kind of have to work with it, understand it, love it, and manage it carefully and kindly as you would a child, like maybe a toddler that needs a nap. That's my frustration. Whenever I feel myself getting frustrated, I'm like, I should probably go have a glass of water. Take a minute, take a pause. I have these 7 of Wands in the upright, which is overcoming. It is taking the high road as well. Can be taking it unaware and being surprised. With the Magician in the upright, well, goody. We have a manifesting energy all over the place. Work on that frustration to increase your manifestation ability, and quit insisting. Remember, attachment to outcomes is also a blocking energy. If you want love, ask for love. Don't say Joe Blow must love me. Just, I want my soulmate. Please, I'm ready. I've prepared that space. And the universe will bring to you what you're meant to have. When we insist, I know what I'm meant to have, well, sometimes we're wrong. And I know that from very personal experience. We have the 3 of, what are you? The 3 of Wands in reverse? No, I beg your pardon. That is the Empress in reverse. One of the more interesting Empresses I've ever seen. So the Empress in reverse is an innovative solution, thinking outside the box, self-indulgence sometimes. Don't be a taskmaster in your own life. Listen, this is a very good energy. Things are manifesting. They may not be taking the form that you want to. The thing that blocks your progress sometimes is still a little bit more work on, patience, patience, patience. Why does everybody in we're not like the most impatient, frustrated anger mongers in the world here or something. Usually it's a high level manifester who gets frustrated because you're used to being able to make things happen. If you are good at manifesting and you have not been able to make something happen, maybe it's not supposed to. And that is one of the hardest lessons to learn, because when we accept it, then what is meant to happen can come in. But when we won't, we're blocking out what is meant for us. And there is always something meant for us. 3 of Swords in the upright with the 2 of Swords in reverse. It's a heartbreak card. I've got a little bit of a heartbreak and unhappy family situation energy on this. It can be a COVID card. Transmission rates are high right now. Be careful with your health. It's just, it's always a good idea to try and stay healthy. Ace of Wands in the upright, a lot of wands on this. Actions being taken, good creative energy. By the way, be aware of that. Excellent creative energy in your professional life. When you are frustrated, try to go towards a creative pursuit. It can be watching movies. It can be like dancing around to music. It can be creating something. That is one of the ways that you deal with your lesser emotions. Please keep that in mind. Ace of Pentacles in the upright. Well, that's 2 new beginning cards. I'm still allergic to Oscar. I beg your pardon. And I'm mildly allergic. It's not like I'm ever getting rid of him. He's just got a particularly potent form of dander. New beginnings in multiple areas of your life, particularly your professional life, looks really good. Your personal life is something that you're being asked not to focus, because you want certain things and you are blocking out things sometimes. Just try to be at ease with what the universe is trying to bring to you. If you need to pour in effort, put it into the things that you've been trying to achieve professionally, because you apparently will accept your professional guidance more easily than your personal one. The same here. You share that with me. That comes out with the Queen of Swords in reverse, which is someone sometimes who is having difficulty facing something. Sometimes it's somebody who is using their words to cut somebody down to size in a good way. It's not always a bad card. Here's the thing. Tarot is not like, nothing is good or bad necessarily. It's just, what does it serve in the moment, or what does it block in the moment? Try not to judge yourself on whatever it is that you're struggling with. Remember, every icky thing about yourself, and we all have them, contains something that is actually a positive. And what you're trying to do is to be able to manage that difficult part of you. Like I said, the frustration that I have is also the drive that I have, which is incredible amounts of willpower when I need it. But it can make my experience less than pleasant when I get really angry about things. And so it's been something I've worked on my whole life. There we go, 1 and 2. And I think for the most part, like, I mostly have a handle on it. Like I said, I'll never do mild. And you don't have to be perfect to be worthy. Perfection is not the goal. We are flawed beings. We are just trying to work with our flaws to get the best outcomes that we can. And flaws sounds very condemning, and it's not. All of us will have lesser aspects to ourselves that we came here to work with. All the time that I mentioned, yeah, I can get frustrated, I can get angry. Obviously, I needed an animating force to achieve some things, and that's what came with it. So that was the burden I asked to carry in order to have the benefits of the drive and the ability. And look at it that way. The things you don't like about yourself are directly related to things that you could like about yourself if you weren't busy judging the things you don't like about yourself. And it's not about liking or not liking, it's accepting and working with. Marriage, you are attracting emotional fulfillment and unconditional love. This can simply be a commitment card. And I've got 10 of Cups in reverse over here with Moon. Pay attention to your intuition at this time and move ahead confidently. Fire, last group got this as well. Let go of emotional upheaval and embrace the renewal of the present. Sometimes things get a little bit worse before they get better. That seems to be in a greater world energy and not in your personal energy. I really don't have anything that's distressing in your personal energy. Just yet another call to work, to examine yourself without judgment, to find out what you are working with and what you are trying to make work for you. Closure just flipped in my face. Here we go. What do we got for pile number 3? 1 and 2 and 3. What were you again? Spiritual guidance and protection from harm. I'm going to keep going with this rather than continue to beat that particular drum. Here we go. What else? Self-worth. Regain balance. It can be tedious when you're somebody who has a lot of personal energy. Remember, you wouldn't skip brushing your teeth. Everything that you do for energetic management is part of your maintenance. Balancing is maintenance. When you have big energy, you need to be in balance, and you need to take the steps to ground, which I'm always telling people those cute little videos that have, it's like Google or search for campfire by a river. And that gives you exposure to all 4 elements at once, which will give you the ability to balance the elements that have sway over your personality and your trajectory and your personal energy. And then chakra alignment videos can help a great deal as well. Some people balance simply through meditating. Fear and anxiety, it's root chakra work and inner child healing with end of a cycle. Fear and anxiety, again, often people who are the angriest are usually the most frightened. Their anger protects their fear. And am I talking about myself? Yes, absolutely. I've had to work on that my whole life. Is that I have an anxiety disorder that I don't medicate. So I have to work with it in talking myself down off of a ledge. And I rarely get anxious any longer. If I wake up anxious, it's like, whose stuff did I not get off me? Because I'm very, very good at working with it. And that's what happens is you gain a sense of mastery over the things that you no longer liked in yourself when you do that work. Let's get you fortune card. What else am I getting? Okay, Soul Explorer, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah. Not a lot about Valentine's Day. That's okay. Like, this is not a big focus on love pile this particular time. It's telling you what to heal to get the love that you want. And it doesn't have anything to do with being single or with being paired up. Rather, to improve your experience, this is the work that you should look at doing. The practical world looks like it's just chugging along, and to keep using all of that tremendous personal power to keep going, and that things are coming to you, because the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles, you're manifesting success. The spider, be meticulous and patient. Patience is key to peace. Serendipity, bright new prospects are on the horizon. Golem, a close friend acts on your behalf. All right. Sounds like somebody is bringing you a new opportunity. Do I have any indication of that? Yeah, I do with that Magician's card. That can be an exterior or an interior force. Be on the lookout for like collaborations. You might try and do everything by yourself. I've got all this solitude, and this is an isolated energy. Extreme independence is like basically the last stage of healing, particularly when you're healing from codependency, which is very, very common in trauma survivors, because you never received part of your foundation. When you are traumatized by your caretakers in your formative experience, you frequently didn't learn your worth. And that's where codependence comes from, is looking for your worth in another person's eyes, or getting your personal like worth wrapped up in whether or not somebody else is with you or wants you. And you have to, the thing is if you're denied that in your formative stage, and we're all denied something in our formative stage, everybody has some formative child healing to do. You can do that work as an adult. You can be the person who makes you at any stage of your life if you're willing to do the work. And everything is, everybody who comes here to learn different things. But if you're in this collective, you want to learn these things. You want to expand these things. Although sometimes it's more difficult than others to hear things like, oh, I don't want to work on that anymore. Like the first year of this, the number of times I got the word patience in cards, I would practically want to yodel like the Swiss Miss and scream. And then it was replaced by perseverance. I'm not sure what 2023's word is going to be yet. All right, you are unique. Be brave, a little crazy, but be yourself. Unique means that there is nobody else quite like you. Don't judge others and don't judge yourself. But it also says that you are here to walk your path, and it is your path. A partner will walk beside you, but they're also walking their own path. Meaning your journey is your own, and there are things that you came here to accomplish. And sometimes it is to experience love and connection. That's not all we come here to experience. You are unique, meaning that you have everything individual to yourself, and that there is nobody else like you. And for people who have always been like, sometimes they're referred to as misfits, they're frequently bullied. If you're not like other people, you may have been attacked by other people. But being like other people, if you look at the world around us, it doesn't really recommend conformity. So embrace not being a conforming structure. It means you were made different for a different purpose. And quite frequently because you are some form of leader, someone who is meant to be the voice that carries the different message. It is time for a change. Do not wait or put off decisions any longer. Do not fear change. Change is the way things get better. We all resist it sometimes. Let's go for let's go for your love cards, your love messages of love oracle. Stumbling over my words, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, how am I doing on time today? A little bit better than I normally do. I last time took so long, I was like, I need to speed this up. Finances, abundance, yay. Chemistry, soulmate, and then true love. Well, that's a nice energy. Do your work. And if love is like an important thing to you, some people do come here, like it's not every life has a focus of wanting romantic connection. And we can go through stages where it's like, yeah, I thought it was, but then I discovered that it did not yield my happiness. And so I focus on something else now. But if you came here and like real love is important to you, real love will find you when you are whole within, when you're in true alignment. And that is one of the reasons to go ahead and do your work as well. It's weird. I don't have that on the table. And as particularly for people, a lot of people in my collective will be codependent because I am codependent and had to heal it. You will get less and less information about your relationships the more and more healed you are, because you know that it's actually not that good for you. Because a lot of trauma survivors have a form of OCD that is actually born in trauma, where we do patterns to try and seek safety. And so sometimes feeding that beast is not the best thing to do. Like, you can get the, hey, heads up, somebody's coming, something's going to happen, or like, sure, you're all ready. And that's about the level of detail that you would want with that. Because for people who can manifest, we focus on something, and the way we envision it may not be the way it is meant to manifest. And that is what an attachment to outcomes is. And that is one of the things that can block us. Wedding ring, union, wedding, married, soul connection, eternal love, everlasting promise. A lot about marriages. Okay, the golden mirror. You may be healing from a toxic relationship, because weddings aren't just about matrimony, they're about long-term relationships. Self-absorbed, narcissist, one-sided relationship, and love bombing. And then I like you. Someone likes you, romance, fun, blooming, fun, flirting, and want to date. Stabbed in the back. Heartbreak, pain, separation, deception, and shocking attack. I've got a healing from heartbreak and doing some work on it energy. It feels like a really old energy, but that's the thing you're being asked to look at. Not all one-sided relationships are relationships with narcissists, but they are sometimes, like, we're meant to release things that don't return energy to us, because we deserve reciprocity. So it does look like you're being asked to consider that as well as you seek relationships, or as you resolve your childhood or your formative damage, or it has, like, sometimes it comes to us from adult relationships. Because there's another form of relationship trauma that doesn't get talked about a lot. People come from really good circumstances. We see the world as we are. We see others as we are. And sometimes that makes us like prime candidates for meeting a predator or a user or an abuser, because we won't spot dark motives if we do not possess them. So some people who come from beautiful circumstances accidentally marry these horrible people who do a lot of damage to them. You still can incur damage to your emotional well-being at a different stage in your life. It's not always like what happened to me as a kid. Remember that part. And it's not weak to not be able to heal something. It just means that it caused a profound and a deep core injury. Have respect for your own trauma and treat it kindly. Religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. I had solitude and retreat as well. I also had that weird, funky energy from the love cards, where it's like, you don't need to sweat this part. Like, there's something on the other side of this for you. It's not permanent. If you're being asked to examine a situation that it's like, is that really something that I need to resolve? It could be something that you need to forgive from a former partner and just let it go. Sometimes we put so much pressure on trauma survivors to forgive people who injured them. And sometimes when we're not entirely healed yet, we can't. So give it over to the divine. It's the divine's job to forgive. It's your job to heal. And when you're healed, forgiveness is very easy. You're just kind of like, yeah, that doesn't matter very much anymore. I forgive it. You really do get there. You really do get there, because it no longer defines you. And that is the other reason to go towards your healing, because it will take you towards the forgiveness that will set you free. But do not force yourself to forgive. If you force yourself to forgive, you will be repressing injury, trauma, and emotion. Don't think that you need to do something because it will be judged as you being a good person. Do it wholeheartedly, or know that it's not the time to do it. And if you've been badly traumatized, do not think you're a bad person because you're like, I can't forgive that person yet. Instead, say, I'm giving this over to you, divine power, whatever that might be, higher self. Give that over to what you believe in beyond you, and do your work, and it will set you free. Because sooner or later, when you are healed, you don't care very much any longer. You're just like, no, I'm good. I'm okay. It doesn't matter. Magic stream is the concept of everything being interconnected. Spirit of place, which is we live in the energy that we create. Coming apart, there is something we're being asked to release as well. Moonlight, which is intuition. And then the coming apart is like, if we have untenable and unsustainable situations in a greater world, pressure will build on that until something breaks. We have multiple areas with that. Change, we keep getting the change card too. Change is necessary for things to get better, but it sometimes clears a deck so that you can rebuild a structure type of thing. Don't fear change. Just try to know that you are protected. We get a lot of protected cards. And again, protected means body and soul. We put so much store in our material goods and what we have. Whereas if you are still capable of thinking, feeling, and being, that's a protected thing as well. As it's hard to explain. It's not a punishment nor a reward system. It's just that you came here to learn. So you do have a bit of protection around you in order to allow that journey to continue, but it will not protect you from all manner of harm, because we learn the most through our struggles. And most harm comes to us, not all, but most harm comes to us as a result of some of the choices that we take, at least in my instance and in a lot of people's instances. The sun is a healing energy, cornucopia, which is a manifestation energy, lots of that. And then the garden and the gate with a man holding a coin. The garden and the gate is remaining in an energy for safety, whereas outside of that gate is all that you would wish, all forms of abundance, but you can't bring yourself to leave the known behind to go into the unknown to experience more. And that is yet another like, hey, release type of energy. All right, so your angel answer card is opportunity, good business energy. Good business energy. Anything else I need to know before I settle in here? You're almost in full balance and just continue to do the work. The healing light is on this table too. If you take nothing else away from this pile, just re-examine some situations that you are trying to forgive, to ask, am I still trying to heal something from that? And you can tell, because like you'll get very fearful or anxious around things that haven't been healed yet. If you're experiencing fear and anxiety around any area of your life, it means that you have something to heal, because when you're fearful, you lack the faith in yourself that you can accomplish what you need to. Once more, slight like, hey, hold on to your, keep yourself safe, stay close to home if you can type of energy, because we have some weird things developing. The world is always like that. We create a lot of problems in it, and they have to be solved sooner or later. I'm editing timestamps in after the broadcast as per usual, and I'm putting the tabletop over there. I remembered all of them. Oh, I'm so proud of myself because it so rarely happens. Let's get going with your oracle cards. This is pile number 4. Enjoy February 2023, number 3, except for a couple of needing to confront some old wounds to heal them. Looked beautiful and look like a lot of things will happen. And you will have opportunities as you feel things rise up. Deal with them immediately. Don't compound or repress your pain. All right, we have don't be imprisoned by your past. Echo. Create a brand new you. Hold that vision. So brand new you, we only ever evolve when we try to compare ourselves to caterpillars and butterflies, and the caterpillar must die, so there will be a butterfly. We are not caterpillars. We are a person that has a core element that we are always working with, and we are reclaiming the parts of ourselves that were sometimes lost to trauma, meaning that you started out as a butterfly, something squished you into a caterpillar, and you're fighting your way back to being a butterfly. It's not a very good analogy for people. You are never truly outgrowing a part of yourself. You're repairing it and reclaiming who you came into this world to be. So it is more about reclamation than it is about release. Okay. All right. I have the cat and lavender, independence. Don't settle into that energy where you can never accept help from other people. Courage. Why? Because if we are willing to give help to others, but we will not accept it, in some weird ways, we are judging ourselves as either being better or lesser, because it can go either way. If you will not accept help, but you will give it, you are actually viewing the people who are being helped as being in need of it or deserving of it. And so allow yourself to receive support if you also give it. Let's get your angel answer card over there. We'll turn that over at the end. Tea leaf card is wishbone. A wish is granted. Really good manifesting energy once again. All right, so this guy came out in reverse. These are the only oracle cards I read in reverse because they have a shadow and a light attribute. And the shadow attribute is, oh, Queen, becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling and demanding. Controlling is actually a form of abuse, by the way, emotional abuse in some instances in its worst incarnation, but it is a fear-based energy, as is arrogance. Arrogant people are quite frequently very insecure. And remember, when you feel that rise up, first of all, look at yourself kindly, compassionately, and ask myself, what am I afraid of? Because it's almost always our fear. Fear is the opposite energy of love. Love is the thing that connects us to our highest self and to our divine version of ourselves. Examine without judgment and without shaming. What am I afraid of when you have a negative reaction to people or to circumstances? And look towards what it reminds you of to find the key, usually to repairing the damage. New life. Good. And then I have winter. The answers to your prayers and affirmations are fully realized in the winter months. Winter is a time of stagnation, of dormancy, to allow the land to rest so that things can grow again in the spring. It is also laying things to rest and allowing them to be passed into the past, only to be revisited as circumstances call our attention back to it. Like I said, we close doors, we don't lock them. So when you resolve something from the past, it doesn't mean it will never be revisited, just that for in the here and the now, in the energy that I'm living in, I close that door. If I need to at any point bump into something that reminds me of that, I'm just going to open it up and look back in that room and be like, okay, no, I get it. Close it again. Close your doors, don't lock them. I have professional assistance as well. Professional assistance can be seeking the guidance, the mentorship, the help of other people. Never be afraid to look for help. Never be afraid to look for help. It's not weak to need help. Every single person you will ever meet needs help from others. And you've got this energy where you'll give it, but you won't accept it. And you're not thinking of it as a form of arrogance, but it is. Like, for real, everybody needs help sometimes. As you are healing from sometimes codependence, which is one of the most common emotional injuries, we get into a stage where we're like, well, I need to be independent because the cure for codependence is independence. That is not the same thing as never allowing anybody to hear your troubles or share your path at all. And please don't use blanket statements to define all of humanity. Not all men suck, not all women are this, not all them are that. Even if you've encountered something over and over again, energy signatures repeat until we repair it. And there is a different energy outside of that after you repair it. Remain open to experiencing new things and learning new lessons, because we're never done in this journey. When we're healed, new and different energies will come to us to teach us new and different lessons. And rigidity and judgment hold things at bay. All right, Tarot of the Divine, bringing us a predictive spread about February 2023. Tower in the upright. Okay, well, we've had a lot of change energy around this. Tower can be divine intervention. It is also the card of epiphanies. Now, it can also be the card of spiritual enlightenment. Can it be catastrophic failure? And yeah, of course it can. I don't typically have that relationship to this card because it is a card for divine conduicy and spirit messages and epiphanies and revelations. It's in your querent position, which means that it is a truth coming to you. With the King of Cups in the upright, which can be the card of basically nurturing, fathering, paternal, protective energy. Now, can it be a person who's Capricorn, Pisces, or Scorpio? Absolutely. It can also be somebody who possesses the attributes of being loving and caretaking. That's the crossing situation. So it's the thing that's at present blocking your ability to see that truth. It comes out with the Lovers in reverse. So the Lovers in reverse can be one of those cards about being in alignment with your divine self. Sometimes it's a card of being like only seeing things from your personal perspective, not a card of selfishness precisely, but a card that calls on you to make sure you're in alignment with your highest self that is the best for you, that will continue your path and cause you to reach for the best that you can be within this life, because that's what causes us to continue to evolve. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. Sometimes that's a sacrifice. With the King of Pentacles in reverse, what are we doing there? Nine of Wands in reverse. The Nine of Wands in reverse is an interesting energy because sometimes it's a card of not having good enough boundaries. Sometimes it's a card of the battle's over, quit fighting. It's knowing what battles not to engage in. Because the Nine of Wands, somebody who's got their guard up. And in reverse, they can drop their guard. The King of Pentacles in reverse is somebody who is like not very not very secure in this world. And again, that's not the same thing as being insecure. It's that something like the world can be a tough place. And so it feels sometimes perilous to drop our guard and to trust. All you really need to do is trust yourself and your ability to solve your problems and to figure things out. And every now and then, that ability involves knowing when you're supposed to ask another for help. With the Page of Swords in the upright, clarity, truth, it can be research. It is the mental energy of air. Communications, writing, journaling can help. Two of Cups in the upright, joining with others. It's a soulmate connection sometimes. Remember, soulmate is not solely a romantic concept. We have all different forms of soulmates, including the idea that your soul tribe contains your soulmates, your soul family. Let's see where there's going, because it's a partnership of some kind, and I've got you very resistant to something. With the Chariot in the upright, which is the card for the astrological sign Cancer, and also being pulled in two different directions. It's in the hopes and fears. We'll see what that comes out with. It bespeaks normally good success in business as well. Like a big change is coming in something. Seven of Swords in the upright, a strategy card. It can also be lies, deceit, manipulation. It can be getting away with something. The need to tread carefully. It's also the lone wolf card, which the lone wolf, it is important to be able to be independent, but shunning connection is a fearful energy. Be open to what is being brought to you, whether it's friendships, whether it's partnerships of a romantic or of a like business nature. We'll see what that comes out with. I see that more for, by the way, that's the card for the type 1 diabetics quite frequently, because in the Rider Way, if you look at it, it kind of looks like they're carrying syringes. All of these things, like over the course of time, you kind of develop more and more meanings to them. That's a wolves in sheep's clothing type of energy. Five of Wands in the upright. The Seven of Swords can also be a gunman. Knight of Cups in reverse. Okay, nothing to worry about there. Oh, good. Knight of Cups in reverse is a self-love card. Can be romantic disappointment. I have no reason to believe that. Although, since the Five of Wands is struggle and conflict, it's like you have a conflict within about allowing new connection into your life. King of Wands in reverse, clarifying my Two of Cups. I have the Ace of Swords in the upright, clarity, truth. Lots of mental energy around this. You overthink things sometimes. Remember, that's not necessarily your friend. There's a difference between figuring things out and like being in your head a little bit too much. Get out of your head sometimes. When you feel yourself going over something, distract yourself with something in the 3D. I have the Ten of Swords in reverse. Yeah, past trauma is influencing your thought process around how you view yourself and others still, and is something that you can choose to release. Six of Swords in the upright, leaving a difficult situation behind, going towards tranquility and peace. It's coming out with the Six of Wands in reverse, so that's a balanced state. One in the upright, one in reverse like that. Remember, six is about energetic balance. And then that's the Two of Wands in the upright, which is a crossroads energy. We are never going to be forced to accept relationships into our lives if we really don't want them to be. Make sure you're acting from a, no, I'm good with my life here, and like, I just don't desire that. Make sure that's where you're acting from. Whenever we're acting from a place of fear, that means we still have something to heal. Wheel of Fortune in the upright, clarifying my Chariot. Yeah, good business success, good. With the Hierophant in the upright, counseling and mentorship, the same thing as the professional assistance card. It's also the Taurus card. It's also like traditional structures, the government, can be courthouses as well. Five of Swords in the upright with conflict. So I have a little bit of conflict energy on this. I knew we were going to. It's been all over everything. Ace of Cups in the upright, everything turns out well. Well enough. Keep your head low. Be safe. Conflict. The Five of Swords can also mean a battle that is one that comes at a cost. And it's also, this is 5-5 as well, because the Hierophant is the fifth card. Get ready for some changes in your professional life. They look good. They look genuinely good. Progress being made, things happening, good connection with other people. It has a very good energy around things will begin again, new life will come to you, but you have to allow it to come in. And we can shut out anything. We genuinely, the divine will never force us to do anything, but they will present us with the opportunity to experience things. And honest to goodness, you're allowed to choose whatever you want. That's what that crossroads energy is. Like I'm always telling people, I'm a crossroads guide. People have a tendency to meet me or come to me when they're trying to decide about something. And it isn't that there's a right or a wrong answer. It's that there are this path and that path. And there are fateful occurrences in our life, and the guides and the universe will course correct us back to those fateful occurrences. Most things aren't fateful, and honestly, most relationships aren't either. Beware and be careful who you trust at this time. That's a caution energy. This is a tread carefully energy with that Seven of Swords. Death, a time of natural transition and transformation. Do I have anything else that bothers me there? Nope, not even. Cracker, positive energy surrounds you. Love, joy, and good fortune awaits. You may be too cautious about who you allow into your life, because if you've had to take a while to heal from something, connection can feel perilous. When you are healed, you're not in peril, because you'll, when I'm always referencing what terrible tastes I've had men in the past, not only have they had red flags, they have been red flag factories. And like, I had a tendency to ignore that. I'm like, that's pink at most, when it's like, oh my God. And I have been my own worst enemy there. That does not mean that I should never have another relationship because I have not historically had the best taste. That had to do with the damage that I had incurred that did not allow me to have the self-worth to know that I deserved good treatment. And that, like, I always use myself as an example because it doesn't upset anybody else. Remember that. We are meant to, we're never, I'm done, I'm healed. It's like, where else are you supposed to expand past that? Challenge yourself around the experiences that you have so that more can come to you, so that even the things that you might have said, that is not for me, they have an opportunity to come to you. Just remain open, and you never have to do anything that you're like, nope, 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 don't want. You never do. But make sure that nope, 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 don't want. Particularly, you will not have nope, 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 don't want unless it has, remember, rigidity is a form of an attachment to an outcome. Instead of nope, 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 don't want, try, I don't think so, but who knows? Because the very right opportunity may bring you a different outcome. Twin flame. Drop that like it was a hot potato. Healthy boundaries. I don't have anything against twin flames, but they really call our attention to a need to heal. And whenever people hear twin flame, they want to focus on the person. And it's like, no, when you hear a twin flame dynamic, the thing you're really supposed to look for is, this is compelling, this is profound. What work am I being asked to do so that I can resolve this and move forward with it in whatever state it is supposed to be? Twin flame, healthy boundaries. Hey, I need to explain something, because I have so many psychics here. That telepathic thing that people can have with twin flames, guess what? We're not supposed to read our partners. It's like looking into their diary. Please keep that in mind. That's why you may get incorrect information sometimes, because you're not thinking of it this way, but you're violating a person's right to privacy when you look at them in cards too much. Keep that in mind. Don't read on your personal relationships. You can get readings on them, but not to find out what they're thinking and feeling, because that is the same as looking into their diary. You're not thinking of it that way, but how comfortable would you be with somebody peeking into your head because, well, I have feelings for them. What do they think? What do they feel? Be careful with it. Just be careful with it. It's not shaming. It's just saying, have healthy boundaries with it. Are they okay? What's up with them? Are they healing? And then you go about your way. Open up. Life-changing decision. Self-sabotage. And that the people in twin flame dynamics don't understand that they're keeping someone in separation when they do it. It is why I'm always saying, please let go if you are in a twin flame dynamic, because you're keeping yourself in separation. If you're watching those readings over and over again, because it is a boundary issue. You cannot have healthy relationships, which twin flames can only come together when everybody is healed and done their work, and it's in a healthy energy. You cannot have a healthy connection with somebody that you're reading their diary on the regs, And that's not judging or shaming. We have all done it. All psychics have to learn, I shouldn't look there. It's why psychics can't read for themselves. It would give us way too much power over other people Every good tarot reader I've ever met, like, we get a heads up on danger and general energies, but we have to go to somebody else to have them look in depth for us. And it is because we can't use this for personal gain and still remain in a purposeful divine journey, because it's misusing something to manipulate others. And we don't think of it that way. We don't, but it is. And it's just something we have to be careful of. And again, I'm not judging a living soul, because God knows I have, like, it was something I had to come to over the course of time as well. We all do. The way we learn lessons is to make mistakes. It's normal. Go slow. Apology. Fate. Addiction. Retreat. Longing. Longing can be a craving, and codependency is a form of addiction. When you can't get somebody out of your head and it's like they're always right there, remember, that's like an energetic craving. Whenever you feel it, just be like, I'm going to do something else right now, because that is a compelling and a compulsive energy. And it's not a healthy place to be in. We are meant to be walking in the 3D, and you can go there sometimes. Honest to goodness, every now and then we receive messages as we are meant to, but we really are meant to use our psychic gifts to illuminate our path, not to determine what somebody isn't telling us. Like, when it comes to, is somebody cheating on you? Is somebody telling you the truth? Those are things that are within bounds, because your boundaries shouldn't be violated either. But we can't get the minutia on other people without it being an invasion of their privacy, which we are still entitled to privacy, even when we are in relationships. So if you've been in separation for a while and you're like, but I feel healed, ask yourself, am I using tarot to look into somebody else's emotional state when it's kind of like, oh, that's a boundary? We need to have boundaries with partners as well. All right, let's keep going here. Let's get and I'm not trying to upset anybody, and I'm certainly not trying to judge anybody. It is every witch, every tarot reader, we all have to go through, what do I do with this power? And you don't get good results when you're misusing it. And that is why it's not a scold. It's like, I'd like you to have a better life, and this is how to get there. When it comes to using your gifts to help your path versus control something. All right, I have the spirit, unseen forces watch over you, and they will block you. Medusa, jealousy. Jealousy leads to a downfall. I don't need to go into that. Winds of change. Your surroundings will undergo a transition. Jealousy and envy. Jealousy does not really exist in secure relationships. So codependency is formed from an attachment style. There is an insecure attachment style, which is usually the chaser dynamic. It's a fear of abandonment issue. There is an avoidant attachment style, which is the runner, a fear of intimacy. The goal is to have a secure attachment style. And listen, if you have an insecure or an avoidant attachment style, understand that came from damage. It's not a character flaw. It's what damaged you in your formative experience. And we all have those things. Don't think you're being judged when you're told you have something to heal. Just like you wouldn't think like, hey, there's a big cut on your elbow, put a Band-Aid on that. That's not a judgment. It's a like, heads up, that's how to heal that. And that's what your spirit guides try to do when they give you that type of information. Fire. Oh, everybody got fire in this one. Let go of emotional upheaval and embrace the renewal of the past, and then beware. Be careful who you trust at this time. Lovers, there are two paths ahead. Be true to yourself. I have, that's like such an echo of what I was just saying, that again, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna flog that echo line. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. I hope you guys have a really, really nice Valentine's Day. If you're not with somebody, treat yourself with love, because you deserve to be loved, whether or not you have a romantic partner. Oh, I already did these. I beg your pardon. Let's go with the Soul Explorer. By the time I get to pile number 4, I've been looking at these cards for so long that happens. I'll just be like, did I pick this up already? Was that pile number 3? There we go, 1 and 2. The Soul Explorer, the Soul Helper Oracle it's actually a very, very good Oracle deck. And I didn't expect it to be. But it's been very good and very targeted. Re-energize in the natural world. Empaths need to get to nature because Earth is such a grounding influence. All of the elements are contained in nature, and that is how we exist in a state of balance. If you can't go outside because it's February where you live and it's like it's an Arctic blizzard out there, you can watch nature programs, and it is the energy is, you don't have to be proximate to like partake of it. Is it better to be by an actual physical tree? Yes, but it's not always possible. Re-energizing in the natural world is about grounding, and grounding needs to occur almost daily if you're a high-level empath or psychic, because you're always getting other people's stuff on you. A new strategy is required. We had a strategy card as well with that 7 of Swords. If you are not getting the outcomes that you hope for in your world, re-examine what you are doing and consider doing things differently, including not doing as much. Which, honest to goodness, that sounds counterintuitive to making things happen, but sometimes we're so focused on where we're going that like our guides are over there going, no, over here. And they can't get our attention because we focused on, I'm going to make this thing happen. Every now and then, take a pause, take a break, do something different to have a different outcome. There's my dogs, 1 and 2 and 3. Puddles is so like, Oscar's the big one. Puddles is the little girl dog who's a third of his size. She eats his food, guys. Like, he's such a nice dog. Their food bowls are close to each other. I feed him at the same time. Like, I was like, why is he losing weight? I turned around one night, and as soon as she finished her food, she stuck her head in his food bowl and started eating it. And he's such a gentle and good dog. He was just like, oh, well, there goes the food. Oh my goodness. Packaging does not indicate determination. Heartbroken, deeply hurt, sad, separation, breakup, feeling lost, grieving, and mourning with palm tree. Stability, security, permanence, growth, endurance, and flexibility. When you get the heartbroken card, it just means that you're still healing from emotional trauma or pain. It doesn't mean that something's going to break your heart. Although, like, I'm getting that kind of like, in my chest. If I'm saying anything that hurts you, I'm never meaning to. If something frightens or upsets you, step away. Like, this is never meant to trigger you. And if it's triggering you, it's not the time for something, or it's not your message. The Grim Reaper. The relationship is over. No second chances. Grow and transform your life. This could be literal death. And I did have a couple of things in that. And then that comes out with coffin. And endings bring new beginnings, growth, change, liberation, and transition. I didn't have a whole bunch of release energies in this one, but if by any chance you need to release a relationship, that doesn't mean you'll be alone forever. In order to make a new thing happen, you have to let go of that which is not for us. And we all focus on things that are not for us. Because here's what happens. Our spiritual self contains the information for us to actually heal our wounds with the help of the divine and our spirit guides. But our ego is like, this hurts, so give me the immediate fix. Our ego wants the Band-Aids. Our higher self wants the cure. And our ego tells us to go towards the immediate fix, whereas our higher self tells us to go towards the permanent fix. And then everything will be better always. And that is why it's best to go with the guidance of the higher self, even if it causes more pain in the short term. 1 and 2 and 3. Yeah. Okay. Unrequited love. There is a relationship apparently that you're being asked to release. Now, there's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. Sometimes we really all do. And it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a business opportunity you're trying to make happen. Don't think of it just around romance. It means that there's something you're trying to make happen that is not for you. And it's not a punishment. It means that the thing that is for you is better. With it is safe for you to love, open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. Codependency. It's a hard truth, and I hate delivering it because it's always upsetting to people who think they have found their one true person. But some twin flame connections are karmic relationships trying to bring you a lesson. Not all, but some are. And you should be able to like examine your situation to say, is this person treating me in a way that would be acceptable if we were in a relationship? And if that answer is no, let them go. let them go. They can either come back to you when they have done their work, or they need to be let go because they don't deserve you. Codependency is addictions are affecting your romantic life at this stage. At this stage, someone who is healed and loves you will treat you properly. Someone who isn't healed needs to do their work. Partners are not projects. I'm so sorry. I never like giving that one. I never ever do. But it's the only path to true happiness when we're hanging on to something that isn't meant for us. All right, let's get going for the enchanted nap. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I was not expecting that. All right. And it could be for just one person because that happens as well. But that was a repeated energy in the love space. Education, gentle gardener. Education is learning new things. Gentle gardener is the divine is trying to make your garden flourish. The divine will take seeds, and if you allow it to, your garden will flourish. But again, sometimes we, to protect our ego, try to cling to things that maybe aren't meant for us. And that's not going to be for everybody. You will know if it fits you. Okay. Deep freeze, winter. That's a winter energy, mountain. And then magic stream. Deep freeze is being held in stasis. Nothing will happen until you flow around an obstacle instead of through it. And sometimes it is recognizing that I'm not acting in service of my highest good when I'm doing something. We all do it, particularly in the love space, sincerely. All right, let's get going with the energy cards. 1 and 2. What do we got from the energy cards? Bit of a down note to end on that. Good business energy, good everything else energy. Just something needs to be put to rest, and it's going to be very individual. But I've also got like manifestation and courage and wishbone, and don't be downcast. It's just honest to goodness. We hear things when we're meant to. Every now and then we have to release something. We do. And it's not going to be for everybody. Like I said, we'll know whether it's your message. I want to check this guy again. Don't be imprisoned by your past. Create a brand new you. Hold that vision. For what is meant for us to come to us, we have to quit chasing that which is not. Don't chase. The whole thing of I do not chase, I attract. What is meant for me will simply find me. That is why letting go is always the right answer in every walk of life. I'm letting go of trying to make something happen. I put in effort and I know what is meant for me will come to me. And again, this literally could be in a job situation or in a career or in trying to, like if you've moved to Los Angeles and you've been starving on somebody's couch for 3 years, maybe they're trying to tell you, listen, didn't part of you always want to be a teacher? That's not a lesser thing. This one isn't your path. Go and pursue that which is. And that is an example. Okay. Angel of balance. We got a lot of balance energies, appreciation, door to personal healing and happiness, storm warning, blossoming abundance. Excellent, beautiful money energy. And the need to release an outcome that apparently you haven't been able to make happen for a while. I can't tell if it's a romantic relationship or not. It genuinely could be a business relationship. Codependency does not just exist in romantic relationships. We can be dependent on our friends, on our families, and on our self-image created by the profession that we are holding. And I'll give you an example in my life. Honest to goodness, when I started this YouTube channel, I was like, I need to make that happen. As time went on, I was like, I don't think I want to make that happen as much because it doesn't look like it's for me and some of the things that come with it. And I needed to change course and start developing something else that I've been told over and over again, but I didn't want to. That it was a form of teaching and a form of mentorship. Both of my parents were involved in education. My father in particular held a doctorate, and I come from a very long line of teachers on his side. And I did not want to pursue any form of educating others because I didn't want to be like him. And I will never, ever, ever be like him. I just happen to possess the same genetic skill set. And that's different. And that's one of the ways that like I got in my own way and wanted to go towards something that was not for me. Okay. All right. So it happens to all of us is my point. That was the Spirit Guide Monthly for February. Looked like a good month. Some romance for some people, a little bit of a call to release and a little bit of a call to hunker down. I'll see you again in